Time now for the Nick Hart Show. It's presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including A&T Concrete, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Agrigold, All Trade Solutions LLC, AM Transport, Engermeyer Electric, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Country Barns, Nolcon Marketing, Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Diversified Instrument Services, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, DuBois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, the Dunkel Family, Friends of Mason Scheller, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Full Metal Armory, the Grandmothers of Jackson Adams, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hobstadt Summerfest, Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, Hoosier Pain and Posture, IMI Concrete, Engler Family Eye Care, Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Kiesel Wagner Survey, L&B Boutique, Little Miracles, Lowry Ag, Make Your Mark, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, MyTech Systems, National Vet Help, Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Pole Concrete Construction, by Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, by Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, by Tim Barge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicky Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, by Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body. Now, The Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department and 89.1 The Bash.
Hello and welcome to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. After 9 weeks of football, and it flies by, we are finally in playoff time and do or die time. But first, Coach Hart, want to congratulate you after the Boonville win 35-8 this past Friday. You guys are now the fourth straight outright big school PAC champions. So big congratulations to you there, Coach. How's it feel for winning that fourth one in a row?
It's great. And, I think we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. Our goal is always going to be the playoffs and winning sectionals and doing that. But the first championship you can win is the conference championship. So, to get that done and, have that accomplishment, it's the first one you can win. So proud of our kids and their ability to get that done. And, it's always a great thing. We're not going to trade them in, but the real work, starts right now and advancing through the first round of the sectional. But, a great job by our kids throughout the conference schedule of winning. And, really, other than the Heritage Hills game, winning, handily in all those conference games. It's a great thing to win it 4 years in a row. And, we'll try and do it again next year, but, we got bigger things in front of us right now.
Yep, I agree. But last Friday, Boonville took on Gibson Southern, final game of the season. One more time, your score, Gibson Southern 35, Boonville 8. Talk a little bit about this game, but, defense, offense, both teams played exceptional. One thing I want to mention, that defense held Boonville to 91 total yards of offense. Just 8 first downs throughout the whole game. Kind of started giving them a few more stats in that fourth quarter once we get some of the younger guys in. But, tell me a little bit about how you felt about that defense and their effort and their play this game last Friday.
I thought they did a great job. And as we were kind of, I don't want to say struggling offensively, but maybe not executing at the level that we should have, and a lot of that has to go. We talked last week. Boonville's got a great defense. They haven't given up very many points throughout the course of the year. I thought our defense did a great job of really controlling the game. Even at halftime when it's 15-2, you feel pretty good because they had not moved the ball, very well against us. And, like you said, 90 yards of offense, and I think 50 or 60 of it came on their final drive. So to have your varsity hold them to 30 or 40 yards of offense is a great night. And, I thought we did a good job of playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage for most of the night.
Yeah, I had one stat that really sticks out to me. A lot of teams are, going into the 50-50 pass run, as the season has with their players, as the years have gone on. But, Boonville, 31 rush attempts, just 31 total yards of rushing, averaging 1 yard a carry against that Titan defense. You mentioned they played exceptionally well, setting the tone. Gibson Southern punting a couple times away, and the defense doing a great job getting the offense the ball right back. But let's kind of switch over to the offense for the Titans. I know the big question, a lot of the fans that were at the game last Friday, towards the end of that first half, Tanner Boyd took a pretty good shot, came off the field. How's Tanner Boyd doing right now? What's kind of the update on him?
Yeah, we're at Tuesday. We think he's going to be all right. It was really precautionary. At the time he was cleared to come back in on Friday night, but we just wanted to make sure that it didn't get any worse, and put this week or future weeks in jeopardy. So, he was cleared, but as we had conversations, it was just smarter to keep him out and make sure we were good to go heading into the playoffs. And Zach stepped in and played tremendously, in his absence.
Yeah, we kind of looked at that. That's what was it? That 7-2 ball game going into the end of the first half, and Boyd goes down. And we haven't seen another quarterback other than Roshlow, and there's another freshman, I believe. But both of those guys obviously getting in the third and fourth quarter, kind of playing a little bit, but we didn't really see any kind of backup guys. So, how it was a relief for me. I'm sure it was a relief for a lot of the fans too. I'm sure you knew exactly what you were doing though, but how nice was it to see Foster come in there and find Sean DeLong in the end zone to end the first half for that 33-yard
it was great.
Pass.
It was great. Zach's an exceptional talent. I think what's impressive with what he did is, obviously he gets reps in practice, but he hasn't, he started at safety as a freshman last year. So he didn't even get his freshman football season playing quarterback. So that was the first time he's really played quarterback in a meaningful spot in a game, since he was an 8th grader. So, I think, everybody knows it's a little bit different doing it in practice and coming out and doing it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
He's he's got a lot of talent, but he's a great competitor, and is never scared of the moment. And he stepped in and, did exactly what we needed him to do. I thought, he made some great throws, but the important thing was he didn't put us in any bad spots either, and that's kind of one thing we talked about. I mean, our defense is playing great. We've got a lead. Like, I want you to be you, but you don't have to be Superman. We just, when in doubt, take off. You don't have to force anything. Keep us in good spots, and he did exactly that.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Did a great job through the air, also on the ground. 11 attempts, rushing wise for 69 yards. Did have a touchdown on the night. Great effort for both of those guys. And Tanner Boyd on the night still 8 for 13 for 73 yards, did get a touchdown under his belt to wrap up his regular season here, and then 7 rushes for 21 yards as well. But no, yeah, great effort on both ends for this Gibson Southern team. But we'll kind of transition a little bit into sectional time. First week. But before we break down that game, let's kind of talk about this season and kind of the ups and downs, kind of what the teams overcame, what you guys have improved. Obviously every team wants to try to be perfect going into that first round of sectionals, but do you think, is there anything you guys need to work on? Kind of just summarize the season for me.
Yeah, I thought it was a great season. Conference champs, the 2 losses. I mean, everybody knows about that. Boyle County's the number 1 team in Kentucky. South Warren just lost last week. I saw it on Twitter. They were playing they were number 3 in 5A in Kentucky, playing number 1 5A in Kentucky, and lost on a hook and ladder with about 6 seconds left in the game. So they had that one won, and probably would have been the number 1 team in 5A if they could have held on to that one. So both losses are against really good teams. I think the one thing, as we look at the playoffs and what we continue to try and get better at, I think offensively it's consistency and finishing in the red zone. I think we're settling for too many field goals. We got to be more efficient in the red zone. And Cam's a great weapon to have, and it's nice to have that 3 in your back pocket. But at some point, kicking field goals is going to get you beat. So we got to finish drives with touchdowns, and then defensively, it's the big play, right? That's kind of been the bugaboo of the defense. Is it's been on the ground or in the air. The big plays have been the only negative, I think, defensively. So those 2 things to me, limiting big plays with our defense and finishing drives in the red zone offensively.
Yep, gotta agree with you there. Great season so far by this team. Obviously, we're nowhere near done, near finished yet. But you talked about a couple of these teams, just had 9 games so far this season. Want to talk about some of the competition that you guys have played. Like you mentioned, Boyle County, number 1 team in 4A in Kentucky, came off, Boyle County, great team, got a nice win there. Took on Mount Carmel, they're number 10 in the 3A in the state of Illinois. A great competitive team with a sensational dual threat quarterback, able to get the win against Mount Carmel, taking on South Warren. Just talked about them. They were number 3. I'm sure after a game like that, they might just move to number 4. But, a top 5 team in the 5A in Kentucky as well, who, get rid of some special team scores, and we're going to have just as close of a ball game as they did last Friday. And then in Heritage Hills, the number 6 team in 3A, able to, handily beat them despite kind of a little bit of the gas let off in that fourth quarter. But, 4 or 9 games, you're playing some top 10 teams, not just in the state of Indiana, but all over, the tri-state. Just talk about a little bit. I know you kind of briefly talked about it, but, how much does that competition mean, as opposed to, and no disrespect to the rest of the pack, but, as opposed to playing a lot of the smaller schools in the PAC before that conference had changed?
I think the big thing is, several years ago, when we'd make some playoff runs, whether it was in the sectional or the semi-state or wherever, we were always seeing the best athletes that we had seen for the season in that game. And I think now, not that there's not great football players and stuff that we could run into through the course of the tournament, and we're going to play one of them this week. But we've faced some tremendous athletes, some tremendous defenses, some tremendous offensive lines throughout the course of the season, where and this doesn't guarantee victory. Last year we had a much tougher strength of schedule than Owen Valley, and they beat us. So it doesn't guarantee victory, but I think the big thing for us is we're not going to see anything that we haven't seen before.
Mhm.
And when you look at the two losses, they were by a lot. So there's room to improve, certainly to cut that deficit down. But we're not going to see a receiver that was better than the kid from Boyle County. Quarterback wise, we faced some really good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Throughout the tournament. I think Boyle County's defense is one of the best defenses we've ever gone against. So as you just kind of look through and through, like we've gone up against, it's going to be harder to see better than what we've already seen. So I don't think there's, and you just look at the Boyle County game, it took us a quarter to get adjusted to their speed. And then when we did, we played them pretty well. Well,
Yeah.
it's been a couple months, but we've seen that speed. Hopefully if we run into it in the tournament, we can adjust to it quicker than what we did in the Boyle County game. But, I think that's the big thing is if we run into somebody that has speed like that, or a defense like that, it's not going to take us as long to get adjusted to it because of what we've seen through the course of the season.
Yeah. Yep. I agree there. Well said, Coach Hart. But we'll go ahead and wrap up this first segment. Go ahead and take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we'll get to see how cross country sectionals did. Again, I apologize on Friday. I just could not remember. It was a 50-50 call. Couldn't remember if it was conference last weekend or sectionals. Unfortunately, I was wrong. But thank you to some of the Gibson Southern stat crew for correcting my mistake quick and fast through that before that game. But yeah, we'll go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, get to see how cross country did, and then we'll talk a little bit about the JV team as well. But you're listening to the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is made possible by Full Metal Armory, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Car Wash, ERA, First Advantage Realty, Rodney Langford, Emerson Cattle Company, Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Jason Rainey, the Dunkel Family, Friends of Mason Scheller, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Diversified Investment Services, Daywig Meats of Hobstock, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Country Barns, Nolcon Marketing, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Engermeyer Electric, AM Transport, All Trade Solutions LLC, AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, and by A&T Concrete.
Hello and welcome back to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. It's the Nick Hart Show. My name is Wes Harness, alongside me, Coach Hart. Talked a little bit about the Boonville game last Friday. Got the big win, 35-8, to clinch that fourth in a row outright big school PAC championship. But we'll take it away from football a little bit, get to see how we had one sectionals going on this past weekend, cross country boys and girls sectionals. I do have some stuff here. Let me find it. But big shout out to both the boys and the girls. Had a great season so far coming up to sectionals. The boys in sectionals at Angel Mounds, they did place fourth. So they will, as a team, move on to the regional. One guy I watched the News 14 video about it. Alex Spindler, congratulations, placing fourth in the sectional. Best of luck to you guys as you move on to the regionals. For the girls cross country, they did place seventh. I did not get any stats or any results for the Gibson Southern girls, but so seventh place. You need to be fifth to advance. So unfortunately, the girls cross country will not be going any further, but congratulations to them on a sensational season. It's tough. You got to find a lot of pleasure and fun in running. It's one of the things I hate doing the most. I need to definitely be doing it a lot more, but congratulations to the boys cross country team. Good luck in regionals. I'm assuming it's on Saturday, and it is at Angel Mounds again, I believe. I think I'm right. Does that sound about right, Coach Hart?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And we also had Two girls, Molly Spindler and Courtney Helt, both advanced individually, so they'll get to run this weekend at the regional as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations to them. And then, Coach, if you would like to tell me, we did have JV going on Monday night. How did that game go for us?
Yeah, JV fell to Boonville 20-14. Boonville scored on the last play of the game to win that one and keep it from going to overtime. And then our freshmen will finish their season this Thursday at Owensboro Senior. We always our freshmen in with them every year. Seniors, obviously, a very good 5A program in Kentucky, so I think that's always a great way to kind of finish that freshman season is going down and competing with them. So they'll wrap their season up on Thursday.
And then one more thing, kind of talking about these JV freshman teams having, pretty great seasons this year. How excited are you to see some of these younger guys coming up and, taking some roles on this varsity squad in some years to come?
Yeah, we've had some guys play great at both levels, and I think this year, our numbers are a little down. And then you look at how many juniors and sophomores we're playing on Friday nights. It's been we want to continue to play a freshman and a JV schedule both. So we've really had some guys kind of playing in different roles, just to get us through that JV season. Maybe defensive linemen coming over to play offensive line, or I know we have a DN that we have two DNs that rotate, so they're going to be DNs, but they play linebacker when they're not in at DN, just to kind of get us through the season. So I think those guys have all done a great job of stepping up, and the freshmen have lost one game in overtime at Henderson County. The JV went 6-2. So really good seasons for both of those teams.
Yep, got to be happy about that. JV done for the year. Freshman got one more game coming up, and it's going to be a tough one to end the season, but definitely going to be a good one for them. Hopefully they get a win out of that. But we will go ahead and take another break here. When we come back, it's sectional time. Talking a little bit about the matchup against the Mount Vernon for round one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Pole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, Tim Barge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, TYFL, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicki Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body.
Hello and welcome back to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. This is the Nick Hart Show. I'm here with Coach Hart. Talked a little bit about the Boonville game this past Friday, clinching that fourth in a row for the conference championship. Congratulations to the sectional or cross-country boys for Gibson Southern moving on to regionals. And then we had two girls from the ladies cross-country team going to be moving on to regionals. Unfortunately, didn't get the team to advance, but it's always nice when you get some individuals still going off on their own, trying to make something happen. But now it's time. Regular season done. All through, great season so far. But, the fun thing about Indiana and their playoffs, it's a fresh, clean slate. Every team's 0-0. Every team gets to play. It's a one and done, sudden death. And we've got Mount Vernon coming up in this first round. We'll take a quick look at the bracket here. I know I talked about the bracket on Friday. We'll bring it up one more time. At the top of the bracket, Pike Central will take on Princeton at Princeton Community High School. And then the winner of that will take on the winner of Vincent's Lincoln and Owen Valley. Vincent's Lincoln going to play at Owen Valley for round one. And then in that bottom half of the bracket, Mount Vernon taking on the Gibson Southern Titans. It's going to be at Gibson Southern. And then the winner of our game will take on the winner of West Vigo versus Washington. Excuse me. But coming back to the Mount Vernon matchup, played them once before for conference, beat them 44-6. And, Coach Hart, this is one thing I've always been real strong about. This opinion is it doesn't matter what the team is. It's always hard to beat a team twice. So kind of tell me what your plan is going forward for this second matchup against Mount Vernon here.
Yeah, one thing we've talked about is, especially just playing them 2 weeks ago. I think if we come out and we just expect to walk out and have the same result as 2 weeks ago, that's a big mistake. And when your season's on the line, that's something you cannot afford to do. So we got to have a great week of practice, prepare well, and come out ready to play on Friday night. And just a couple weeks ago, we pulled away in the second quarter, but it's 10-0 after one. Then we were really able to stretch it out in the second quarter. So I think that's another thing when you have 16-year-old kids, you can't. If it's 7-7 at the end of the first quarter, you just got to keep playing and competing and playing at a high level. And the results will take care of themselves. We can't. I felt like last year we thought we were supposed to beat Owen Valley bad, and when the game got tight, we kind of freaked out a little bit because we felt like we should be up bigger than what we were. So there's no style points this time of year. If you win by 40 or you win by 1, it's the same result. You're moving on to the next week, and so we got to find a way to have a great week of practice and come out and win the game on Friday and extend our season another week, and then you try and come out and do the same thing the next week. It's all about survival and finding a way to get to play one more week of football right now.
Yeah. I one thing I do remember from the previous Mount Vernon matchup, with Tanner Boyd in the backfield going into that empty, which, Tanner Boyd doing a great job of finding an open target. I mean, I know he's got 5 guys to find, but those receivers doing a great job running great routes, finding openings. But Mount Vernon's defense liking to bring the house when it comes out to that empty set. I don't want you to give away your secrets here coming in before this game on Friday, but do you have some plans to kind of combat against that?
Yeah. I thought that was a good scheme for them, something that, we kind of fixed at halftime. Didn't have to come back to it. But, we did, they kind of lined everybody up on the line of scrimmage and brought it. So one time we motioned Sean back into the backfield out of empty and ran inside zone and popped it for a big play. So there's some different things we can do. I think one thing we got to be careful of this week is, because we did that, I kind of expect them to maybe do the same thing and bail out. So like to kind of simulate that pressure, then bail out underneath some of the hot throws and stuff. So, we just gotta, make sure that we're taking care of what we're supposed to do. And, we'll practice that this week. I thought, Mount Vernon scouted us as well as anybody had all year with what they were doing defensively against us scheme wise. So, they kind of know we've kind of started playing them enough. They kind of know, what our answers are to stuff. Like they brought the house and caused pressure. And so the next time we got an empty, I could hear them yelling screen across the field. They knew we were going to screen them the next time we ran it. So, I think they did a really good job of kind of knowing how we operate. And so I expect them to kind of mix that in with our empty stuff, with also kind of showing that pressure and then bailing out of it, to take away some of those easy hot throws. that they're going to, give up if they are bringing the pressure.
Yeah, and got to give credit to Tanner Boyd against Mount Vernon on the evening. 19 for 25, 260 yards with 4 touchdowns. Did have 1 interception, but it's great when you've got that 3 front that Mount Vernon's running. So, obviously running very, very tight zone coverage there. Got about the other 8 guys, kind of 2 guys covering those flats for those dump down passes, and the rest of the guys just, watching their zones. But even with all of that protection on defense, Tanner Boyd's being able to still find some openings, still find some targets, as he found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different targets on the night. Coming at the 7 targets, tell me a little bit about this receiver crew. I know we've got, one guy who's been out with that leg injury, but just how easy has it been when you've been blessed with just a receiving crew from top to bottom who could have 1 catch or 15 catches, but they're still going to all play just as hard?
Yeah, you probably would have got a nicer answer from me before Friday because we jumped off sides like 3 times in the receiving corps.
Yeah,
but no, they've done a great job all year, I think, and we kind of keep fresh bodies in there too with the rotations that we have, and I think the great thing about Tanner is I think it's a lot of high school guys kind of lock on to their best guys, and that's who they want to go to regardless of the coverage. And, Tanner does a great job of just taking what is open. He doesn't care what receiver's open. He's going to take what the defense gives him and distribute the football. And those guys have done a great job. I don't want to jinx this, but we haven't had very many drops, in the second half of the season. So that they've done a great job of catching the football when it comes to them.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Pole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, Timbarge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, TYFL, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicki Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body.
And then one more thing, we'll kind of wrap this up after this. But I've kind of seen you guys kind of introduce 1 play per team. Maybe not necessarily every game, but for a few games, I've seen some of kind of the wide receiver screen introduced a little bit, especially towards Mount Vernon. I've seen some other plays. Obviously, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to jinx it, and anyone can hear this. So, but are we going to see some kind of, some, how do I word this? Some, not necessarily trick plays, but obviously some plays you can extend off of some plays like that. If I'm making any sense, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you guys have got something going on in the books and those back pages that you're just waiting to pull out here for playoff time. So a little bit of excitement to get to put those to use, or what do you think so far?
Yeah, I mean, every week we always introduce some new stuff. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's not so much. But whether it's formationally or movements, we probably shift in motion more, this year than we have in years past. So some formations and movements, we're always trying to give some, teams something. I think football is such a scout heavy sport. If you can, put their 16-year-old kids in a position where they haven't seen they're doing something they haven't practiced against all week. I think that can give you an advantage. Last week we, probably our best run play in the Boonville game was a little wham scheme that we put in against their 3-3 stack, where our tight end was coming down and whamming the nose, just kind of give us some angles, and that was a really good play for us last week, something we hadn't run the entire season. So we're just always kind of tinkering, trying to find some things. Against Mount Vernon, it was we brought Michael back in motion and kind of faked an end around to him and ran a bootleg, and Tanner hit Sean in the red zone for a play. Everybody's got this on film now, the little under center jet sweep, fake jet sweep inside zone type of deal that we've been running with Heron and DeLong. Just little wrinkles like that, stuff that people haven't been able to prepare for. We're always trying to add a couple of things each week to put them in a position of one, attacking what we think will work, like the wham scheme last week, and two, just things that their kids haven't been able to practice against all week.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the motion there too. Just motioning one guy can show a quarterback like Tanner Boyd what that whole defense is doing, just seeing one guy kind of moving around, or how the whole defense will rotate. So, motion, it's a great asset to an offense, especially with a team who, it's not a hurry up, but it is it's a very fast paced offense, consistently running a play every 15 to 20 seconds as opposed to letting that play clock kind of run down. So the defense has got to be quick. They've got to be on their P's and Q's to make sure, but motion across, obviously opening up some of the secondary, seeing kind of what their movement's going to be, I think is a huge asset, especially going into the playoffs when, you're going to get scouting on teams, but a lot of these teams you haven't played. A lot of these teams you just only see on film. So there's still a lot they're holding back too. But I think motion is going to play a huge aspect as this postseason goes on. But I think that will wrap up the Nick Hart Show for week 10, or you could even say week 1 now that it's playoff time. But Coach Hart, before we go, you got anything else for me, for the listeners?
No, just excited. This is the best time of year, and it's what you build everything up for. This is why you lift weights. You'll go to 7-on-7s and play the teams that we play. It's all gearing up for this part of the season, and so it's an exciting time for everybody.
Yeah, well, that will be all for the week 10/week 1 Nick Hart Show. Sectionals, we will take on Mount Vernon week 1. Game is going to be at Gibson Southern. I see an 8 p.m. start time. I'm assuming it's going to start at 7. It's only 8 p.m. on the schedule. So says 8 p.m. Don't worry about what the sectional says. It will be a 7 p.m. start time. So I'm going to make sure to come out. We'll have our pregame show at 6:45. But one more time, Mount Vernon, sectional 30, round 1, Mount Vernon taking on the Gibson Southern Titans, 7 p.m. on Friday, October 20th. Hopefully see everyone out there. It's one and done time. We need the whole community. We need everyone we can muster. Come out here and cheer on these guys as they continue for a great season and continue on for not just the sectional championship, but keep moving forward to that state title. So thank you from myself. Thank you from Coach Hart, from everyone who's been a part of this whole program, the Booster Club, everyone at 89.1, all the fans that are showing up every day, all the cheerleaders, every team member, every player on this football team. Everyone's support goes miles when it comes to a time like this. So that will be all for today. We will see you on Friday the 20th, 7 p.m. Thank you for listening to the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash, and we will see you on Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Nick Hart Show. It's a special presentation of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Young's Auto Body, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, We Simply Clean LLC, Wash Boss, Vicky Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Vertical Tile Incorporated, United Fidelity Bank, TYFL, Triad Fabricators, Titan Construction Partners, Tai Chow, Tin Barge Seed, Stodgel Monuments, Stodgel Funeral Home, by Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Shearer Monuments, Scherer's Carriage Inn, Sandy's Pizza, Roberts Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, Ripco Systems, by Remax Revolution, Rawhide Golf, Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, Perfect Climate Heating and Air, National Vet Help, MyTech Systems, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, and by Make Your Mark, Lowry Ag, Little Miracles, L&B Boutique, Kiesel Wagner Survey, Kathy Salmon Photography, Casey Gray Fuquay State Farm Agent, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Johnson Commercial Mowing, JMCO Technologies, by Jarbo Tax Service, Engler Family Eye Care, IMI Concrete, Hoosier Pain and Posture, by Hip Dentistry, Hillside Gardens, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Heritage Federal Credit Union, by Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, the Grandmothers of Jackson Adams, Full Metal Armory, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Car Wash, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Emerson Cattle Company, by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, the Dunkel Family Friends of Mason Scheller, by Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Diversified Investment Services, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Courtney Barnes, Nolcon Marketing, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Angermeyer Electric, AM Transport, All Trade Solutions LLC, AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, and by A&T Concrete. The Nick Hart Show, a special sports production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department, and your home for the Titans, 89.1 The Bash.